All right, cool. So my goal for today is to go through a few things in terms of finishing the year strong. At the end of the phone jam, or at the end of the not the phone jam, the end of the call, Lily is going to do some of the TikTok stuff. And one thing that I want everyone to do, anyone who is around tomorrow, is we have a phone jam tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. And obviously, with us not having a full team meeting and the holiday being in the middle of the week, if you are free tomorrow, if you could take a quick second and RSVP in your office's group me to help lead others and inspire action, that would be big, right? So I said to the staff, we have a staff group me, and to me, getting as many people to this phone jam as possible tomorrow is so valuable. Otherwise, if we wait until Wednesday for people to start phoning, people's paychecks are going to suffer, their momentum's going to suffer, like just the cohesiveness of the team is going to suffer. And that's something that the more leaders that we have that are going to be showing people the right way of doing things, the more other people are going to follow. And at first, a few days ago, I wasn't really like sure where I wanted to go with the call today. A few of you who are like Facebook or Instagram friends kind of saw, you probably saw a post. I saw like Charisma, I think Amani, that I posted on Instagram and on Facebook, and it was really a realization that I had. And I feel like so many people are giving up on this year with too much opportunity left. So one thing that I do every day is I have an affirmation that I type into my I do a focus 5 where I plan my day, and I do an affirmation. And my affirmation a lot of the times is like, I'm so excited to make 2020 the best year of my life so far. And a few days ago, I was like, should I change this to 2021? Right. I was like, obviously, the new year is going to be starting soon. 2020 has been a crazy year. And one of the things that I realized is there's still so much time to get so much out of this year. Right. We still have over 30 days left of the year. And there's time to get back on track, or if you're on track for your goals, to get ahead for your goals for the year. And I'm a firm believer that the way that you end the year will determine how you feel about the year, right? So if you finish this year really strong and have a great December in your personal life, in your financial life, in your professional life, emotional life growth, you're going to feel a lot better than limping to the finish line and expecting things to change just because it's a new year, right? And the way that you start next year will set the tone for what you accomplish that year, right? And a few weeks or a month have such a large impact, can have such a large impact on your goals and your growth. And one of the things that I would implore everyone to do is, regardless of where you are, realize that, like one of the things that I always love to say is you're never really where you want to be, but you're always exactly where you need to be, right? And I think a lot of it is being intentional and putting things in perspective for yourself, and that was something that I tried to do the other day. I've gained a bunch of weight this year. I didn't hit some of my goals. I didn't do some of the things that I wanted to do, but the reality is we still have so much time to finish this year strong, right? And I would say one of the things that is really big to me is taking control of your life, right? And I feel like sometimes people are afraid to take control of their life. It feels scary. And the reason for that is because they feel like they're the one to blame if things go wrong, right? Which at times can be daunting, right? It's like, oh man, if I feel like I have full ownership of my life, if things don't go the way that I want them to, then it's on me, right? But the reality is, when you don't take control of your life, you make yourself a victim, right? And some of you have heard me say this, and I think it's the absolute truth is, you can't tell me one story about a successful victim, right? You could tell me stories of people that were put in adverse situations, right? Negative situations, that found a way to take control and were not victims, right? They changed their circumstances. And one of the things that I think is really important to understand is, when you take control of your life, it is absolutely liberating because it empowers yourself to drive, your car, right? To be in control of where you're going. And yeah, do you mess up and get frustrated with yourself at times? Yes, but when you have control, you feel so much better about where you're going. And it's so empowering, right? So I said this in that post the other day. I said it to Yada. I said it, probably I've said it to a couple of people, but I think that one of the things that is so important to do is make a decision not to let things that you don't have control over have control over you, right? It's focus on the things that you do have control over, and some of the other things that are out of your circumstances, not letting those negatively affect you, right? So the reality is, for me, for example, gaining all the weight, yeah, I couldn't control that gyms were closed, right? And I could say, I don't like working out with a mask on or whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to say, oh, I don't like working out with a mask, so I'm not going to work out. What I'm going to say is I'm going to find a way to make the best of that situation, right? Yeah, I gained a bunch of weight that I'm frustrated about. I am the most that I've weighed in like 3 years, and I worked hard to lose weight. But I could either feel frustrated about the situation that I'm in, and I could stay there, or I can make a decision to do something about it, and I could work towards losing 15 or 20 pounds by the end of the year and then getting back on track by the end of January. And that's what's going to empower me, right? So your circumstances can determine your success, or your decisions can make the difference in where you're going, right? And one of the things that I thought was such a powerful way to convey this, and so for me and Ashley, right? For me and Ashley, this is going to be a little bit sad. For you younger folk, this should hopefully excite you, right? And
Tony.
Can you guys hear that? All right, cool. So I never thought I would be sharing a TikTok in a meeting. You know what? But the world is a crazy place, right? I've been, yeah, the world's a crazy place. So
Robbins' famous quote, and he said, if you're 18 years old and you invest $300 a month for 8 years, and then at 8 years, you no longer invest again, you'll be financially free by the time you retire. You have $1.8 million. People are like, what the heck are you talking about? Well, at 8 years, you would have invested $28,800. And if it was invested in the stock market, which has earned about 10% each year for the last 30 years, and because of compound interest at retirement age, which is mid 60s, you'd have $1.8 million. It's psycho. Let's use Tony Robbins.
So there's two things that I want to kind of point at with that. So one of the things that I want to point out is that's the power of now, right? That's the power. And I'm gonna really break this down and kind of show you the power of starting early, right? Starting today and what that can do over time. And also one of the things that I want to point out is the power of 1 year, right? So there's another manager, his name's Mike Abramowitz. And one of the things that he's been talking about recently is like the power of 1 year, right? You might not be in a place right now where you feel like you can invest $300 a month, but over the next year, you could be in a place where you feel comfortable investing substantially more than that, right? And that starts with what you do today to start preparing yourself for, creating those powerful changes in your life, right? So I have a few things to show you, right? So I broke this down where these are two different examples for investing $25,000 and using I used a calculator that has a compound interest calculator, right? And basically what I did was I said, if you were to invest $25,000 and then never touch it again, right? And the first example I did was at 25 years old, right? So I did 40 years of that because typically the average age of retirement is 40 years old. So I said, if somebody were to invest $25,000 at 25 years and then leave it till the average retirement age of 65, what would the numbers look like? So at the end of 40 years, your savings would have grown to $1,131,481, right? Think about that. 25,000, because of interest, it would have earned $1,106,481 of interest because you started earlier, which is why I said that me and Ashley, we can't go back in time. But so you want to see the powerful difference of if you waited until you were 35, right? Where I feel like a lot of people wait till they're 35 or 40, right? And that's why so many people in retirement can't really retire, right? And at 35, right, it would be 30 years instead of 40, which means that at the end of 30 years, you would have $436,235, which is still a good amount of money, right? Which is why if you're Ashley or myself, you still invest as you get older. But that's $411,000 of interest instead of over 1.1 million. And that's a difference in almost $700,000, right? And one of the things that I would say is there's people on this call that are 17 in high school graduated, right, Zach? Or 18, 19, 20, even 21, right? Where you imagine how if you're 18 years old and you had 7 years till you were 25, right? That's $3,500 a year for the next 7 years, and then you could retire in a position where you have that integrity and all of that at the end, right? And I completely agree with that, Ashley. Start with something and then move your way up from there, right? I also want to show you this, right? So this is if you were to invest $50,000 with 10% interest, right? So if you did it at 25 years old, that means that you would have around $2.2 million, and you would have gotten over $2.2 million of interest just for investing $50,000 by the time you are 25 years old and leaving it, right, in stocks, whatever you feel comfortable with, right? And if you were to do that at 35, it would be the difference of over $1.4 million, right? Which is why it is so valuable to start now, right? A quote that I love is do now what others won't, so in the future you can have what others can't. So yeah, maybe you sacrifice a couple, times where friends go out and you save some money, right? Maybe you don't get a PS5 off of Facebook for over $1,000 and you wait till it's actually on the shelves, right? Maybe whatever it is, maybe you don't get a new watch, right? Like today, or you do, like you cut back on some of those things, or you work a little bit harder than other people. But one of the cool things about the Vector opportunity is that everyone here could invest and invest, or earn substantially more than that by working hard and taking full advantage of the opportunity, right? And it really, like, you don't want to wait. You don't want to push your goals back, right, months or even weeks, right? You want to start today. So I would say I jotted down some bullet points. I didn't even put them in order, but in order to really max out the Vector opportunity, I would say obviously setting consistent goals, right? You should have a goal for how much you want to earn, or it could be invest, save, earn, sell, right? You should know what you're working towards, because that is so empowering to you, right? When you make phone calls and you have no purpose behind it other than to go through the motion of making phone calls and doing demos, that is way different than saying I'm investing in my future, right? Second thing is creating and this is something that I think is really valuable. I think a lot of people would be more successful if they did this, if they created a template for their schedule, right? And instead of starting from scratch with a brand new schedule every week, if you said to yourself, okay, I'm going to phone at the team meeting, I'm going to phone Tuesday morning and Friday morning, or Friday morning and Sunday, whatever. And these are my demo times on a weekly basis. And you sat down at the beginning of the week and said, okay, well, where do I need to make tweaks? And I think that a lot of the times the reason that people don't make schedules is because they don't have a template for what they're doing on a consistent basis. And it's so much more energy to start from nothing, right? So imagine if you just took a consistent template for what your schedule would look like, what your standards were for yourself, and you put that together. And then on a weekly basis, you sat down and said to yourself, do I need to move anything? Do I need to take anything into consideration? And you move things around instead of starting from scratch, right? I think being a team builder, I think that holds yourself to a higher standard. I think that that's a great opportunity for you to motivate yourself because you work with friends. I think it's an awesome opportunity for you to set yourself apart as a leader on the team and earn promotions, right? I think something that is so important is setting money aside, right? That's one of the reasons I love having a withholdings account, right? This year, from just withholding money, I've withheld over $30,000 that's never touched my bank account. And I love that, right? Like I love not having it in my bank account, but if I ever need it, it's obviously there, right? So I also have an Acorn account that takes like $300 a week out of my account. I also have a TD Ameritrade that takes over $300 a week out of my account, or I think that one might be $500 a week, right? And it just goes into those accounts automatically, so that, and it's really on payday, so that there isn't just more money than there needs to be accessible in my bank account, right? I think that one of the things that is so important is creating and maintaining momentum, right? A lot of you have heard me talk about momentum. It's incredibly hard to kind of like just put words around and explain, but it's something that you know when you have it and you know when you don't, right? And one of the things about momentum is it isn't like incredibly hard to gain it, but you do need to make a little sacrifice and work a little bit harder. And I feel like a lot of people might not feel like they have momentum, but all they need to do is, I always say, like, if you have no momentum at all, if you committed like let's say 2 hours or 3 hours for 3 straight days to really creating demos, you could create demo momentum, right? But what it is it's that investment in creating that momentum, and then once you have it, it's so much easier to maintain, right? It's stepping out of your comfort zone, right? It's doing some of the things that you don't necessarily feel comfortable doing, right? It's reaching out to some of your past customers that said that they would give you referrals, or some of the people that you originally sat down with when you were not very good at the job that you should have gotten more referrals from, but you sucked at asking for referrals and asking them for more referrals and sharing your goals with them, right? It's doing all of the things to expand your names list and and book up demos and reach out to people who rescheduled, and just do all this. Do things that make you uncomfortable, right? Because that's where you grow, right? Your comfort zone is stagnicity, right? Discomfort is a growing pain. It means that you are doing something that you've never done, and that's the only way to become someone that you've never been, right? It's earning promotions, right? Obviously, as you earn promotions with sales, but also for me, it's earning promotions in terms of taking on more responsibility, right? Wanting to become an assistant manager, run your own office, right? So that you can really soak up all of the opportunities within the position, right? I always, I don't know if a bunch of you have probably heard of John Maxwell. I think we did a 5 levels of leadership thing. Frederick, or Theo, stop it. And one of the things that he says is the moment that you step into a position, you're working your way out of that position, because you're either earning a promotion or being replaced, right? And the reality is, one of your goals should be to work out any of your deficiencies here so that you don't take them with you to your next opportunity, right? That should be one of your goals, is like, leave here a better you, and don't leave with the same flaws, right? Earn promotions, look to take on more responsibility. So, like, get the most out of this opportunity, and you'd be surprised how much you're going to grow, not only financially, but personally, professionally, emotionally, and obviously all of those things, right? So in terms of finishing this year strong, you need to set goals, right? You should have a goal for the end of this year, right? Every single person should. I'll show you a couple of like the things that I'm excited about, even though they're very quick. I didn't want to break them down in too much depth because I do want to get to the TikTok stuff, but I will in a little bit. Work on building that momentum now, right? Like, set aside time now and don't wait, right? Like, there's going to be certain people that over the next few weeks do this stuff that other people aren't doing. And then all of a sudden we're going to see that on the report in a couple weeks, right? It's like, what, 95% of the mass of an iceberg is submerged underwater, right? So you will feel the results of your actions today in a couple of weeks, right? So don't wait to start creating momentum. Do it now, right? Reach out to your past customers this weekend, right? This is like the weekend to reach out to people and offer them deals. People are spending money. They just did Thanksgiving, all of that stuff. Set aside a couple of hours and see if you could get more referrals and close some sales, right? Expand your names list, right? I would say my challenge for every person here is can you get 10 demos on your schedule from non-referrals? Because I bet you if you did that, you had 10 demos on your schedule from non-referrals, even if you just average 4 referrals per demo and you had 40 fresh leads with your other referrals, I bet you would be in a much more powerful position to go after a big December, a big January, and light up next year, right? Master your craft. And for me, that is something that is so powerful. I'm going to talk about it. To me, it's growing yourself personally and professionally, right? How can you level yourself up? December to me is level up month, right? I always used to talk about this in training. One thing that I do every December is I watch videos of another manager running training, right? And most trainings are about 20 hours. And to be honest with you guys, it might sound cocky, but our productivity for this summer for Morris was over $4,000 per rep, which was top 3 in the entire company, right? But what do I look for? I look for a few small things that I could get from that. And by doing that, by investing the 20 hours that it takes me to watch another manager run training, that is something that I do to level up, because I don't want to enter January where I entered December, right? Like I want to level up in December, and I want to use that as a spring so that I could raise my capacity. And I'm growing into that new year so that hopefully I can make a bigger impact on the people that I'm leading, right? So what does leveling up look like for you, right? I quoted this, some smart person, because I looked up the quote, and then they said some person, and then there was a website that was like, this person didn't say this, but I love this, and it's light yourself on fire with passion, and people will come from miles to watch you burn. Right? So what does that look like? What does lighting yourself on fire this next month look like? Right? And that's a great question to ask yourself. What does it look like from each of the different aspects of your life? Right? What does it look like academically? What does it look like relationally? I don't know if that's a word, relationally. Yeah. Emotionally, right? Like financially, what does that look like? Just lighting yourself on fire with passion, right? So our team goals, for Morris and Middlesex, our goal is at least $175,000 December. I already committed to Earl with it. It scares me, but we're going to do it, right? Also, our goal, so Essex will officially be a part of our division in January in the new year. Our goal is a $500,000 January. Does that scare me? It scares the shit out of me. I'm not going to lie to you. That really, really scares me. But the difference maker is these next few weeks, right? If we start building momentum, we have a team that we never have had before, and we never will have again, right? And if we really start building momentum over the next few weeks, we're gonna do amazing things to finish this year and start next year the way that we want. And you're gonna see our intensity raise in terms of your managers. You're going to see my intensity go up. You're going to see Lily, the assistant managers, all of that stuff. And to me, that's how winners operate, right? You finish with pride, right? That's like the biggest thing to me. I've always had a firm belief in work ethic and just finishing things strong. You know, you might be smarter than me. You might be, better educated. You might, be wittier and have a better vocabulary. But my mindset is like, you can't outwork me. And the way that you finish things has so much to do with like character, right? Like, and that's so big. And you guys are the difference makers in this. You are the difference makers in the culture that we are going to create and the goals that we are going to hit, right? So know what you want to get out of the rest of the year. And I'm going to go rapid fire because we might go like a few minutes over to do this TikTok thing, but know what you want to get out of the rest of the year. What do you want to learn, right? And I would maybe jot some of these things down and I'll even take a screenshot of this slide at the end and post in the group me, but what do you want to learn, right? What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to sell, earn, and save? What do you want to do or experience? How do you want to feel? Or what do you want to feel like going into next year? And who do you want to become? Right? Because the more clear you are on those things, the easier it is for you to start figuring out what you need to do to become, or for you to work towards any of them, right? So what do you want to learn? What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to sell, earn, and save? What do you want to experience? And these don't all need to be Cutco things, right? Like some of them obviously should be. But what do you want to feel like going into next year, and who do you want to become? So, damn it, I didn't mean to do that. But so we are going to do the TikTok contest. I know we're a couple minutes behind, so we might go a few minutes over, and I'm sorry about that. I'm going to hand it over to Lily. One thing that I'm thinking about doing, and we don't need an answer on this right now, but I'm thinking about maybe we just do one of these a month. Every month we do like one of the TikTok contests, and maybe at some point we do different themes or something. But that is what I have. Lily, you are up.
Awesome. Thanks, Owen. Could you just make me host so that I can create a poll? So what I'm going to ask everybody to do is open up TikTok on your phone and go to the @nj.vector account. @nj.vector. And check out the TikToks on that account. Mute yourself, scroll through them for a couple of minutes, check them out. And I'm going to create a poll in the Zoom chat. I don't know how to do it. I'm going to make a poll in the GroupMe because I don't know how to make a poll in the Zoom.
Okay, could you make me host again then?
Yeah. I'm going to make a poll in the GroupMe. I want you guys